Bem-vindos ao Cambridge Day. Estamos registrando este evento em fotografias e vídeos. Lembramos a todos que a sua presença no local autoriza a utilização da sua imagem e voz para a divulgação futura. Obrigada pela presença e aproveitem!
Vai lá, vai lá. Bom dia!
Bom dia!
Exatamente, ó. Só seguir aqui, ó, a minha palma. É muito simples. Vamos lá. Aê! Vocês ainda seguram a ansiedade, tá? Calma, calma. Vamos só no miolo. Isso vai contaminar vocês, tá bom? Você vai ver.
Isso, e até para sincronizar, né, César?
Lógico, e porque dá aquela sensação de dar vontadezinha. E aí, quando poder concretizar, você vai ver que essa vontade, vocês vão pirar, tá? Vamos lá.
Bom.
Maravilha. Agora vocês direita. Ótimo. Vocês da esquerda. E agora o centro espírita. Gente, o pessoal veio uma salva de palmas, gente.
É o pessoal da escola Chico Xavier de Ensino Médium. Vieram.
Vamos agora trocar os aplausos por bom dia. Vamos lá?
Bom dia!
Ah, tá lindo! Sensacional!
Sensacional!
Vamos trocar o bom dia, já que é um evento, né? Que predominantemente vamos falar muito em inglês. Por que não falar good morning? Né?
Você fez inglês, César?
Enfim, vocês vão ver na prática, né? Vamos lá!
Good morning!
Olha só,
olha,
olha.
Agora, ó, desculpa.
Peraí.
Não quero te menosprezar, mas ele falou, vamos falar good morning.
Não.
Olha, aqui eu escutei.
Não.
Good morning.
Alô.
Não é?
O bastão tá ligado ou não? Você pode falar o jeito que você falou good morning, por favor?
Good morning. Good morning. Aqui é mais britânico. Ó.
Pelo amor de Deus. Então vamos lá, só eu agora. Good morning. Vivendo
César.
e aprendendo, gente.
Não.
Obrigado por você existir. Tá, gente? Obrigado por você existir.
Isso é um método facial, porque você falou igual, mas dessa vez você falou com a cara assim.
Não, gente, tem que
ninguém suspeita.
Tem que ter credibilidade. Vamos lá, de novo. Good morning. Porque falar inglês traz elegância, né? Benê, você traz mais retorno pra mim, por favor? Vamos lá, todo mundo.
Good morning. Good morning.
Tá ótimo, sensacional.
Ó, vamos aproveitar que já estamos aqui e oferecer inteiramente grátis um exame de audição. Audition. Também fala inglês, César. Se vocês estão me ouvindo, por favor, digam hey.
Sensacional.
Ou em inglês, king.
Ótimo.
Se vocês estão me ouvindo, por favor, digam king. Se vocês estão me ouvindo, por favor, digam ho. Se vocês estão me ouvindo, por favor, digam hey ho.
Ótimo, sensacional.
Não, 100% de audition. Agora vamos nível 2.
Nível 2.
Lateralidade. Em inglês, laterality. É isso? Laterality?
Um minuto só.
Saidularidade.
Como é que é a lateralidade? Você é professor? Tem que estudar, hein, gente? Pelo amor de Deus. Tem que estudar. Vamos lá. Mais retorno pra mim, Benê.
Acho que pode subir o retorno todo.
Todo retorno pra gente. Vai lá.
Ó, laterality. Vocês aqui da minha direita, vou chamar de direita.
Vocês,
right.
Tá? Ora.
Sempre que eu disser direita, vocês gritem hey. Direita! Direita!
Peraí. Qual que é o seu nome? Ai, my God!
Hã?
Como você é chique, ai, my God, ai, my God!
Okay.
Qual que é a sua graça? Fernanda, você já esboçou uma coreografia E foi maravilhoso. Então eu vou pegar a sua inspiração e agregar um pouco. Já que faz rei e king, por que não faz assim, ó? Rei! Tá?
É a coroa.
Mas uma coroa.
The crown.
Ó, isso é coroa, isso já
que
é
eu
alce,
assisto.
tá? Não, é coroa, tá bom? Vamos lá? Vamos lá. Ok.
Não, é coroa em inglês, é old lady.
Gênio! Vamos lá.
A gente vai sair daqui com uma bolsa, César. Purse. Esqueci o que eu ia falar. Direita! Direita! Direita!
Tem pessoas que a gente está vendo vocês, né? E tem pessoas que falam assim, ó, hey, hey, hey. Gente, por que a gente não quebra um paradigma? E fala, não, hoje vai ser um dia de conteúdo, mas por que não? Conteúdo com diversão, por que não brincar aprendendo e, quiçá, aprendendo a brincar? E pra gente fazer disso uma festa, que pra mim, todo encontro é motivo de festa. Só que para ter uma festa vai depender de cada um de vocês. Não dá para você fazer festa, festa! Não. Então vamos fazer disso uma loucura. E por que não viver hoje, durante a manhã, uma rave? Vamos lá, vai, agora.
Direita! 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 Direita!
Vamos lá.
Sensacional, hein, César? Ó. Agora o pessoal da esquerda. A esquerda a gente pega aqui tudo.
Vamos pegar o meião, vamos
Vamos pegar do meião até ali, porque a esquerda está um pouquinho desfalcada.
Vamos pegar aqui, ó.
Isso. Sempre que eu disser esquerda, vocês gritem ho. Ó. Esquerda!
Não, pera. Isso é rei, gente.
Ela chegou, já
Não.
sei. Ho!
Não. Rei é rei, ho é ho. O que a gente pode fazer?
Ho!
Para diferenciar.
A gente pode fazer, lembra? Thundercats, ho! Espada Justiceira, faz assim, ó. Olha, ela assistia.
Perfeito.
Era fã da Chitara.
É.
Ela fez assim.
Ao invés de perguntar quem tem mais de 40, é perguntar quem viu Thundercast, né? Vamos lá. Thundercast.
É um podcast do Thundercats. Esquerda! Vocês podem fazer assim, sincronizado? Começa em cima, termina embaixo, que a gente tem toque. Esquerda! 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 Direita! Esquerda! Direita! Direita!
Tamo ligado.
Direita! Direita! Agora o pessoal do fundão. Gente, o fundão, vamos pegar as 5 últimas fileiras. Faz assim, ó, você olhou para trás, não tem ninguém, você é a última. Olhou para trás, tem menos de 4 fileiras, você está incluso no fundão. Se estiver de pé, tá valendo também, ó. Sempre que eu disser fundão, você grita, é nóis. Bate no peito, joga pro universo, pode gritar em inglês, it's we. É não.
Cara, você fala muito inglês.
Mano, eu sou Cambridge.
Vamos lá.
Fundão! Ficaram na dúvida, se fala, é nóis ou it's we.
Vamos tentar, é nóis só.
É nóis, vamos. Fundão! 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 Direita! Esquerda! Fundão! Direita! Esquerda! Fundão! Sensacional. Agora, para encerrar essa abertura, vou pedir para vocês pegarem seus aparelhos celulares e cell phones e já deixar ligado. Quem tem sistema Android demora um pouco mais, a gente sabe. Aí na hora que a gente falar Rock in Rio, vocês vão fazer assim, ó, vai parecer que a gente tá no Rock in Rio. Vocês vão pensar, uau, que mágico!
E aí,
What a magic!
E aí quem tá na luz, quando for assim no celular, apaga as luzes, tá bom? Pode ser? Obrigado.
Vamos recapitular, só quando eu falar Rock in Rio que vai o Rock in Rio. Direita! Esquerda! Fundão! Everybody!
Gente do céu.
Everybody. Gente, não sei se vocês manjam de inglês. Everybody quer dizer todo mundo. Everybody! direita, esquerda, fundão. Everybody, everybody, everybody. Rock in Rio! Salva de aplauso para vocês!
Sensacional, sensacional.
Rock in River.
Gente, olha, primeiro eu quero dar um bom dia a todos vocês. Bom dia. E gostaríamos de desejar um ótimo dia para vocês. Claro que vai ter muito conteúdo, como eu falei, mas por que não de uma maneira divertida, leve. E a gente pensou, Álvaro, como é que a gente pode começar o dia de uma maneira agradável? Daí a gente pensou, por que não começar dando um presente para vocês? Né? E que tipo de presente é esse, já que somos uma companhia de improvisação chamada Companhia do Quintal? Aí eu falei assim, por que não dar um presente? Gente, eu estava esperando só vocês para começar. Eu não sabia o que... Gente, qual que é o seu nome? Camilo, o seu nome. Uma salva de palmas para Camilo Marlon, gente. Agora, Marlon, fique à vontade, senta, pira, faz o que você quiser, Marlon. Tá? Por favor. Não quero... Não. É o seguinte, qual vai ser o presente que eu vou dar?
Qual?
É engraçado, quando um artista se aproxima de multidões, ou a pessoa mira na nuca da pessoa da frente, ou tem a síndrome do tatu bola, né? Que põe a cabeça para dentro, né? Por favor, qual que é a sua graça? Gabriela. Primeiro, bom dia. E o presente qual vai ser? Né? Hoje a gente vai falar muitas coisas, também vamos falar sobre histórias. E quando a gente fala de quintal, pegando o nome da nossa companhia, lógico que falo quintal, é natural que vem histórias. Você teve alguma infância, algum quintal que te marcou? Alguma, sei lá, no meu quintal da minha avó, sei lá. Você tem alguma coisa de lembrança com quintal?
Casa da minha avó?
Casa da tua avó. E onde é que era a casa da tua avó?
Interior de São Paulo, Presidente Prudente.
Presidente Prudente. Qual é o nome da sua avó?
Lígia.
Lígia. E o que você mais gostava de fazer no quintal?
Eu lembro que tinha árvore, ficava subindo na árvore que tinha lá.
E tinha frutos nessa árvore? Você pegava fruta?
Era uma árvore pequena, mas eu era criança, já que era grande.
Entendi. E você brigava com os seus irmãos? Você tem irmãos? Não.
Tem uma irmã mais nova.
Mais nova?
A criança não tinha nascido ainda, mas tinha vizinhos.
Perfeito. Então é o seguinte, qual que vai ser o nosso presente? A gente vai fazer uma música improvisada, em sua homenagem, onde ele vai ter que colocar a palavra quintal, Presidente Prudente, a sua avó Lígia, quiçá vizinhos, e o seu nome mesmo? Gabriela. Então, olha a cara dele, é muito legal, né? A cara de desespero dele, né? Quando ele fica com a testa enrugada, significa, que porra que eu vou fazer, né? Então é o seguinte, você vai fazer uma música em homenagem a essa história, e, se você gostar, eu vou ficar aqui, me abraça, que eu passo o abraço para ele. Não precisa ir até lá no palco, tá bom? Presidente Prudente, Lígia, subir em árvore. Você quer mais alguma pergunta? Não?
Não.
Tá ótimo.
Tô feliz com essas.
Então vamos lá. Boa sorte. Essa é a nossa singela homenagem para você. Mãozinha.
Eu tô aqui pra cantar, eu vim dar o meu recado, uma música pra Gabriela, mas não é a do Jorge Amado. Eu vou cantando agora, espero que não seja tarde. Gabriela brincava bem em seu backyard. É Gabriela, Gabriela, Gabriela.
Todo mundo!
A Gabriela, Gabriela, Gabriela. Ela brincava legal numa cidade tão quente, lá perto de Tupã. É Presidente Prudente. Ela brincava legal e ficava até o fim com a sua avó Lígia, que não é a do Tom Jobim. Gabriela, Gabriela, Gabriela. A Gabriela, Gabriela, Gabriela. Gabriela é bacana e agora está aqui. Na infância subia em árvore, em tri.
Uma salva de palmas para Álvaro Lage e Gabriela. Álvaro, vamos ver se ela gostou. Merece.
Essa parte eu me sinto muito valorizado.
Parabéns, parabéns. Álvaro, vou passar o abraço dela.
É quase a mesma coisa, viu, César?
Olha, eu posso passar a intensidade, mas a fragrância jamais. Ah, gente, é o seguinte, e tem uma coisa muito legal, que além de vocês, tem pessoas assistindo ao vivo pelo YouTube, pelo Facebook.
Live.
Então você, que está tomando seu café da manhã, né, entre um croissant ou outro, estamos aqui e vocês podem acompanhar a gente até o final do dia. Vamos fazer uma, assim, bom dia, escutar eles?
Ah, vamos.
Vamos lá.
Bom dia!
Deixa eles participarem.
É o pessoal de casa.
Pessoal
mesmo.
de casa agora, é relação direta com o pessoal de casa. Vamos lá.
Bom dia! Olha.
Gente, eu senti eles, eu
Eu
senti.
escutei. O pessoal
Gente.
da região aqui, da Bela Vista, pelo menos deu pra ouvir.
Então é o seguinte, já demos o bom dia, já quero que esse presente se estenda a todos vocês, porque quando se falou de quintal, é natural que a gente deve ter pensado cada um em seu quintal, e todas as histórias são especiais porque são singulares. Então gostaria de estender esse presente a todos vocês. Tá bom? Que tenham um ótimo dia, e vamos chamar para comer. Pode bater palma, pode bater palma. E vamos chamar para dar agora boas-vindas oficiais. E vai ter coro para você, vai ter uma música para você. João Madureira! Ó.
É Madureira!
Todo mundo!
É Madureira!
Mãozinha pra cima!
É Madureira! É Madureira!
Olha só, parece uma Libertadores da América para te receber.
Maturator.
Tudo jóia, tudo bem. Olha,
Johnny, the Maturator. Oh, thank you.
ele falou pra gente ficar que ele quer falar com a gente.
Welcome, everyone. But before I give the official welcome, I know you understand. what
Yes,
I'm saying.
yes, yes.
How's your English, Cesar?
So.
So. So where have you been lately?
Chiquito. Ah, não.
Great. O César, como alguns de vocês sabem, com o nosso Cambridge Day aqui, tem nos agraciados com a presença sempre, trazendo alegria, trazendo essa vibe, essa energia. E eu fico falando com ele depois que ele tem um task para o ano que vem, que é aprender inglês.
Faz 6 anos, eu tenho que escutar mais a sua pessoa. A gente fez há 6 anos atrás,
Então,
há 2 anos.
eu vou dar uma tarefa muito difícil hoje para você.
Tá bom.
E o ano que vem a gente conversa.
Perfeito.
Tá? Você vai ter que encontrar um professor de inglês nesse audience aqui.
Tá,
E ele vai te ajudar.
perfeito. Bolsa?
Purse.
I will go as far as find a teacher.
Perfeito,
Okay?
perfeito.
It's a hard task, you know, because a lot of people here. You have to find a teacher of English.
Ok. Eu tenho que encontrar eu entendi tudo que você falou. Tenho que encontrar um professor, estabelecer uma relação, e ela vai ter um grande prazer de me ensinar inglês de graça. Entendi tudo. Maravilha. Maravilha.
You got the spirit. Thank you, and they will be back. Don't worry,
Thank you,
they'll be
Johnny.
back.
Até já. Boa sorte.
Thank you. Great, welcome you all. Thank you very much for being here this morning. Some of you much earlier than we even expected, so I apologize for the discomfort in the early moments of the event, but I think we've got everybody seated and well accommodated. Welcome to the Cambridge Day 2019. I don't know where to look at, but hello to the live streaming audience. I know that there are people watching from Manaus, from Porto Alegre. I've just had the note from Ribeirão Preto, from Belo Horizonte, and the usual friends from Itabuna, who are also watching on the live streaming. So Let's all wave. You don't have to look back, just wave to the people looking at notebooks. Thank you also for being up so early. Let me quickly get started with, and where do I point the pointer? Here? The screens are on the side. I see myself here. Okay. I understood. Thank you, Leo. As always, we have a slight problem with my clicker. No, we don't have anymore. I want to quickly talk about our purpose, which is basically to further knowledge and learning and research globally. This has been our purpose, our mission, since 1534, when we started as Cambridge University Press. 1534. That's quite a long way ago. Again, here. Okay, our mission is to unlock people's potential with the best learning research solutions. And we'll talk very briefly about that. What does that mean? And there we go again. Very quickly, founded in 1534, some historical facts about who we are, how long we've been around. It's quite a long history, over 480 years of publishing, continuous publishing, the oldest publishing in the world. And we are part of the University of Cambridge, which was founded in 1209, 800 and some years ago. Some of our scholars, some of the people that have been through our university, I'm sure you recognize some of these names. And it's quite an interesting mix of people because we cover all areas of the academic world, from social humanities and hard sciences, medicine, biology, etc. In numbers, you see that right here at the corner, on the left, established in 1973. In 1973, we started the English language teaching department. So, as a publisher of English language books and series and now digital content, we are quite young. We're quite young, but we've accomplished many, many records over the last 40 years. And right down below, 30 years in Brazil. We arrived in Brazil in 1989 with a very small office, started visiting some schools, and we grew out of that to be one of the main international publishers in Brazil nowadays. Some of the numbers, 100 million learners have used English Grammar News. I'm sure you know the Blue Book Murphy. So these are some of the big numbers that we have in our track records. Again, our purpose, our missions, which are basically guiding us through this day and obviously throughout everything we do. And we arrived at the better learning concept, which is helping us to build brighter futures together. What does it mean, the better learning? Is it a product? Is it the name? Is it the brand? No, it's a concept. It's something that we have developed over the years, and it works like you see. You know, it's like an ongoing machine. And we start with the insights, deeper insights, when our researchers, our reviewers, our authors, they engage with the teaching community to find out what are the trends, what are our learners worried and concerned about, what are the topics and themes that we should include in our publications. And that leads to the content. So before we actually bring out anything to show you, a couple of years, 3 years, sometimes a decade has gone through in terms of research, in terms of trials, in terms of pilots, before we actually bring something out to show you and demonstrate as what we think could be a learning solution for you and your students. And with that, obviously, we lead to better results. So the better learning process, the better learning experience, it's an ongoing process. We never stop because you never stop. Teaching is a very dynamic environment, so we can't really stand still. And off we go here. Leo. Okay? was best at learning in a hip-hop way, you know, just to keep the vibe going. Cambridge Day 2019, São Paulo. This is the morning session. You're just going through the opening from 8:30 to 9. I hope to be on time. And then we will immediately move to our first guest speaker, Mark Ibbotson, with Peer Power, followed by Michael Tomlinson at 10 o'clock with Own a Mission. And this year, it's slightly different from last year. We're going to break for a kind of lunch brunch at 11, okay? So that will give people, especially the ones that got up very early, an opportunity to relax, have a cup of coffee and some food. And then we will move to the afternoon sessions earlier at 12:30, with Cesar getting us warmed up for the rest of the afternoon. Ben Knight will come at 1 o'clock with kind of framework for life competence, help English teachers in Brazil. It's a very interesting presentations as well as the ones in the morning. Then we go to Samantha Lewis, encouraging learners' autonomy in the classroom. We break again for coffee, okay? And I invite you all to visit our sponsors, Martins Fontes, Gisao, and SBS, as well as the stand of Bill. Did everybody got the coupon for the raffle at the end of the day? Okay. And then we will end from 4 to 5 with Ben Goldstein before we move to the closing part. So it's a very full day, but we hope that we brought a very interesting mix of speakers, and as well as we arranged the day that in a way that you will feel comfortable, as well as with time to relax and exchange idea with your peers and other colleagues. And hopefully make new friends, obviously, because this is a wonderful opportunity for meeting new people and doing some networking. No worries about collecting a certificate of attendance. It will be sent via email that you have used to register for this event. So there will be no other queues and lines for collecting a certificate. And you can follow us on all of these wonderful social media devices which are available throughout the room in our mobiles. Speaking of which, time to turn them off, or at least put it on a silent mode so we won't have those very strange noises that come out of these machines sometimes. And again, a word of thank you to our main sponsors, Gisao, SBS, Martins Fontes, and Bill Intercâmbio, for being here with us and helping us out with putting together the event. So, with no further ado, I want to invite Mark Ibbotson to come on stage, and he will actually get us started with some of the presentations that we have today, which I'm sure you will enjoy. Mark, thank you very much. I know it's not your first time in Brazil, so I'll let you speak to your old friends.
Thank you very much, Joel. Thank you, thank you. Hello. Good morning. And hello to everyone who's watching us on the internet live. Thank you as well for joining us. How are you doing? Everyone good? Excellent. It's fantastic to be here for the final Cambridge Day in our 2019 tour, the biggest Cambridge Day. It's been quite a long tour. I came to Brazil. I arrived at the beginning of last week. I've been here almost 2 weeks. I arrived in Porto Alegre. Did you notice the pronunciation there? Yeah? Good. I have been working on my pronunciation of the places that we've been to in Brazil. From Porto Alegre, we went to Curitiba. Was that okay? And then on to Brasilia. Not too difficult, that one. The next one's a bit tougher. We went from there to Belo Horizonte. More work needed on that by the sound of it. And then we went to, well, I used to call it Rio, but these days I refer to it as Rio de Janeiro. Was that all right? Yeah? And then last night, finally, we arrived here in, are you ready for this? São Paulo. It's quite stressful doing presentations. That was definitely the most stressful part. I'm glad I got through that. I've been learning to use my nose, with these pronunciation things, using my nose in ways that I've never used it before. Okay, I guess I'd better briefly introduce myself. So my name is, actually my name's quite difficult to pronounce as well. It's Mark Ibbotson, and I am an English teacher and a materials writer, and my main area of interest is adult learners. So could I just ask, how many of you teach adults? Whoa, all of you, almost. That's excellent, great. So anyway, over the past couple of years, I've been helping to write a new course for Cambridge, a general English course for adults called Evolve. And as part of that, I've been working with an approach that uses peers as role models. So this morning, I'd like to tell you about this idea of using peers as models in language learning to look at what it's all about, how it can benefit learners, how it can enhance learning, and then to look at some practical ways that we can actually bring this approach into the classroom. And I don't just want to stand here talking all the time. I'd like to try and get you involved a little bit and get you to participate. Does that sound okay? Great stuff. Okay, so to get us going then, if we start with a simple but very important question, what is a peer? So if I could invite you just to talk to the person next to you for 1 minute and to think about this question, to try to come up with a kind of definition or description of what a peer is or what it means to you. Okay, so for 1 minute, over to you. Okay, that was roughly a minute, a short minute. Any ideas then? Any thoughts? What is a peer? Let me come down and come a bit closer. Any ideas? Yes, a gentleman over here. A lord or lady of the realm. Possibly, yeah. That's a slightly different specific definition, isn't it? Yeah, a British one. People, your colleagues, people that are here. Nice example, yes, okay, yes. Someone taking the same course as you, so an English course, for example. So maybe done the same, has the same ideas, done the same subjects, so similar to you in that kind of way. Yeah, great. Any more thoughts? So the students in a class are peers. Okay, that's nice, yeah. That's great. So what we're saying so far is that peers are, a peer is someone who's similar to you. If I come down this side, so if we think of more examples of that, similar in what kinds of ways? Let's give some examples. Someone said colleagues. So that's professional. Any more examples of how a peer can be similar to you? In what ways? Okay, so someone with the same background, possibly, yeah, that could be a, yes. Okay, so does an activity and same level of ability, for example, or yeah, that's a nice idea, yes. Okay, yes. Two or more people that are equivalent in a sense. Yeah, that's a nice definition as well, yeah. Okay, great, fantastic. So we're getting a nice picture of this. So a peer is someone who's similar to you in different ways. It could be, someone said profession, nationality maybe, age, someone mentioned interests. And someone also said that this is a description of a language class, isn't it? Because the students are peers. And as teachers, we know that our best resource in the classroom is our students. Would you all agree on that? We can get a lot out of our students, can't we? And of course, they can get a lot of benefit out of us as teachers too. But what about the idea of peers, of students, benefiting from each other? How can language learners benefit from their peers? So this is a key question that I want to explore. But before we look at the specific context of language learning, let's just think about this idea of learning with peers more generally, because it's something we all do, isn't it? If you think about it for a second, I'm sure you can think of some examples of situations where you've done some learning with other people who are similar to yourself. Yeah? And if you think about it a bit more, you might start to get a feeling for how you benefited from working with those peers. How they motivated you, maybe. How they helped you. How they made the experience more enjoyable, possibly. So different ways that those peers had a positive impact on your learning experience. Yeah? Are some things coming to mind? Let me tell you about an experience I had where learning with a peer had a big impact on me. Quite literally. Has anyone done this? No one done? I thought Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was, I thought half of the population of Brazil did it. There's one or two hands going up. It's not very pleasant. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting that. So this is Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, which I recently stopped doing. Because, you know how it is when you get a bit older, it takes you longer to recover from sports, yeah? And it had reached the point where it was taking me 2 weeks to recover from a Jiu-Jitsu lesson. But the lessons were every week. So, yeah, you get the situation. So I decided to stop. But actually, I did come out of retirement briefly, went back to my old club to take these photographs specially for my presentation. So please feel free to give me a round of applause for my commitment to my Brazilian peers. The extraordinary lengths that I will go to look silly in a presentation are quite significant. Okay, so this is the technique that we're practicing here is called ogoshi in Japanese, which is a hip throw. And one day, while I was practicing this technique, I had an interesting learning experience with one of my peers. So I need to just demonstrate this technique to give you some background. So I'll do that with an imaginary partner. I won't ask for a volunteer. Not because I'm worried that nobody will volunteer. I'm actually worried that somebody will volunteer. You stand over here. Just out of interest, if I had asked for a volunteer, would somebody have volunteered? There's loads of, what? You would have volunteered? Okay, there's one or two people. Is it a bit dangerous to use a volunteer, or shall we give it a try? Would you like to, can we have a round of applause for our brave volunteer? Please come up, yeah. What's your name?
Cláudia.
Very nice to meet you, Claudia. Thank you for, where should we stand? In a large space. Right, okay. Normally, you're not holding a microphone when you do this, so I need to just adapt things a little bit. So what you do is, first of all, you take hold of your partner's arm. Good idea. Have you got good insurance, by the way?
Yes.
Good, okay, great, because I haven't. Okay, so first of all, you take hold of your partner's arm, okay? Now, I'll have to change the microphone now. That's good. I'll need to just change the microphone if you pretend I'm holding your arm. And then what you do is you turn around through 180 degrees and you put your arm around your partner's waist, okay? So up to this point, it actually seems like quite a friendly thing to do. You're doing okay? And normally you do go a little bit lower than this, but I'd rather not split my trousers in front of 1,000 people, so this will do. You can stand up a bit higher if you want. You can stand, that's right, yeah, good. And then what you do is you take your partner's arm and you pull them across your hip. Now, obviously, we're not going to do that bit. And your partner gets launched into the air. Thank you very much. That was great. A big round of applause for our brave volunteer. So yeah, so the idea is you turn around and you pull your partner and they get launched into the air. That's what's supposed to happen. But if you don't get it quite right, instead of getting launched into the air, your partner just kind of slithers slowly down the side of your suit, which is very disappointing. And I had real difficulty with this technique until one day I was practicing with one of the other guys in the group, one of my peers, and he spotted what I was doing wrong because he'd had exactly the same problem himself in the past. So he could relate to my situation. And obviously I could relate to him, fellow learner, had the same problem as me. So the advice that he was able to give me really got my attention. And it was really simple. All I needed to do was, instead of turning around just half a turn, I needed to do an extra quarter of a turn to generate just a little bit more turning power and lifting power. So I tried again, using the tip that he'd given me. It worked absolutely fantastically. I launched him into the air, slammed him straight onto the mat, which wasn't the nicest way to thank him for his advice, but it was a great tip. So that tip from one of my peers transformed my ability to do that technique. And not only that, that same principle of turning just a bit more to generate more turning and lifting effect also applies to several other techniques. So this was a really important key moment, a fundamental moment in my learning. And it happened thanks not to the teacher, but to one of my peers, someone who I could closely relate to. Okay, I've been hanging in the air long enough. Let me return to our main theme. So we've said that a peer is someone who's similar to you. But let's look at this in a little bit more detail, because Cambridge has done a lot of research, or a lot of work examining the research in this area. So I want to draw on some of that now. So the types of peers that we're talking about are near-peer role models. So what does that mean? To describe it in the words of Muir, near-peer role models are people who are comparable to ourselves in one or more fundamental ways. We are more easily able to relate to them on a personal level. They have a far greater impact on our motivation than someone who is very different from ourselves. So this is a description of my Jujitsu class. And of course, we often get people learning together who are comparable to each other in groups, don't we? It's a very common situation. And we can describe those groups as communities of practice. In other words, groups of people who share a concern or a passion for something they do and learn how to do it better as they interact regularly. So this is actually a nice description of a language class, isn't it? Because the students might be there because of a passion they have. Some of them might be really motivated about English, or they might be there because of a concern. Very often it's the need to pass an exam in English, isn't it? But in all cases, they're there because they have this common purpose. They want to speak English better. So we're starting to make a connection between peers and language learning. If we just take that a stage further, starting with a concern that you might have, because you might think, hang on a minute, can peers really benefit each other? Can students really help one another? You know, with the mistakes they make, with the way they pronounce things? Do they really set a good example? Are they really a good learning model? It's a valid question. So with those concerns in mind, let me tell you about another experience I had, this time as a language learner. As I said, I'm English, but I live in France, lived there for many years. And before I actually moved over there to live, I used to travel over to France regularly to see my French girlfriend and future wife. Talking about the same person there, by the way, not two. So I was spending a lot of time in France, and that meant that I was learning French from native speakers, which was great. But there was one downside to it, there was one negative side, and that was that I was continually comparing myself with those people. I saw those native speakers as the model, as the goal to aim for. And to be honest, deep down, I felt that goal was pretty much impossible. The idea of trying to reach the level of those native speakers was like looking up at the summit of Mount Everest. You know, it felt really out of reach. And you know how it feels when a goal seems out of reach. It can be pretty demotivating, can't it? Pretty demoralizing. So there I was, my objective, it was a really big personal goal, was to live in France. But I imagined that in order to do that and be happy there, I really needed to speak as well as a native speaker. So it all seemed like a kind of an impossible dream. And then things happened really quickly. I got a job teaching English in France and found myself living there in the country, feeling completely unprepared. I started work and found myself among a group of colleagues, the other English teachers, who were mostly British and American. And it was really strange because it was the first time that I'd ever met any native English speakers who lived in France and who spoke French. And it was a real revelation to me because I realized that just like me, when they spoke French, they had an accent. Like me, they made mistakes. But they were managing just fine, and they were having a great time. And that, for me, was a real sliding door moment. It made me realize that, do you know what? I can do this as well. And that feeling was extremely motivating. So fast forward to the present, and to a theory that helps to explain that feeling of motivation that I experienced. It's called the ideal L2 self. So in the words of Dornier and Ryan, the ideal L2 self relates to a learner's sense of identity in the second language and refers to a desirable self-image of the kind of L2 user that one would ideally like to be in the future. So this is the idea from psychology of modeling. In other words, setting a concrete example that learners can relate to and will be motivated to follow. A research shows that in language learning, peers are powerful motivators because they're easier to relate to than native speakers, and they represent a more realistic goal than native speakers. So they're closer to the learner's view of their ideal L2 self. And research also shows that peers help to reassure learners that you don't need to speak perfectly to communicate successfully. It doesn't matter if you have an accent, it doesn't matter if you make a few mistakes, you can still communicate successfully. So students can see their peers, or a peer role model, speaking English with an accent, making a few mistakes, and think, I understand them perfectly well, they're communicating successfully. So this reassures learners and helps them to feel that, they don't need to be anxious about speaking, and encourages them to speak more. So I guess to sum all of that up, you could say that this is something that learners can really believe in. They can believe in their language learning goal. So to break this down into a belief system with some bubbles. Do you like bubbles? You can't have a PowerPoint presentation without a few bubbles. Do you like the way I say bubbles? Do you detect that I have a slight accent? Yeah? Can you hear I have an accent? I've said I'm from England. Who thinks my accent is from the south of England, around London? Oh, not too many. Who thinks it's from the north of England? Far more hands. You're absolutely right, it is. It's from Yorkshire, which is the region around York in the north of England. Can you understand me perfectly okay? Yeah, okay, so, you see accents are not too difficult. Okay, so to sum up this belief system then, so we've said near peers are more relatable. Learners think if you can do it, I can do it too. They normalize variations, so learners see their peers speaking, think this person's got an accent, but it's not stopping them from communicating. So they model effective L2 communication. And also, importantly, when you have somebody who's a non-native speaker, who's a peer of learners talking, it sends out the message that, this is the real English-speaking world, because as we know, internationally, most communication is from one non-native speaker to another non-native speaker. English is widely used between other countries and non-native speakers, and this certainly reflects my experience teaching people in companies in France. Okay, some of my learners would deal with people in the UK and the United States, but the vast majority of them were speaking English to colleagues and contacts in China, Germany, Brazil, Mexico, Japan, Italy, Poland, etc., etc. They were speaking to other non-native speakers of English. And this is what English is all about. It's an international language. So by using peers, we get that message across. Okay, so peers help to encourage positive ideas. Self-belief, the idea that if you can do it, I can do it too. That helps to reduce learners' anxiety, encourages them to speak, and that helps to lead to successful language learning. So really, to bring all this together, what we've said so far is that peers are good for motivation. They help to motivate learners and encourage them and reassure them. But peers can also do something else. They're good for speaking. So to show you a couple of quotes on this, research on peer interactions has generally shown that students speak more and in a greater variety of ways while working as peers than they would if they were conversing with a native speaker. And when working with a language learner peer, learners speak more and produce longer turns. So when learners are speaking to their peers, with fellow non-native speakers, not only do they speak more, they also speak better. So this is an effective tool for encouraging and improving speaking. Okay. So far, we've said peer interaction and peer role models have potential. They can help learning. So the next question is, what do we do with this? How can we bring this approach into the classroom? So I'd like to invite you again, and if you're watching us on the internet, if you'd like to maybe think about this as well, just for a minute or so, a couple of minutes, try to think of some ways that we can encourage peer interaction in lessons and bring peer role models into the classroom. Okay, so if you'd like to talk to your peers just for a couple of minutes and discuss some ideas on that, and we'll see what you come up with. Okay, over to you again. Right. Let's hear some of your ideas, and I'll start at this side this time. So if we look at the first question to get us going, how can we encourage peer interaction in lessons? Any ideas from this side of the room? Bring in interesting topics for the students. Something they like, something that's interesting. That's a very nice idea. It's going to encourage them to interact. Yes. Great. Yes. Any more ideas? Playing games? Yeah, that's a nice idea. Games, so that's going to encourage... somebody had their hand up at this side? Yes. I can hear you from here. Nice one. So change pairs so that the person doesn't get used to talking to the same person all the time and you're varying things. That's a nice idea. Yes.
I think it is important that they take a good relationship along the course.
Okay.
To involve them in projects.
So there's a good relationship between the students and they feel involved. So that. Okay, so there are projects that they can work on, maybe tasks to complete, and that's nice, that's interesting. The same thing?
No, what I did last month, I invited all my students to go for pizza and wine.
Pizza English.
And wine.
And wine English. That's a nice idea, change of context. It's going to improve the relationships and make it more. That's really nice, yeah, great idea. Okay, so some nice idea. One more idea at the front. Yes. That's nice, yeah. Okay, so monitor them so you're not being intrusive with error correction and things like that, so they feel comfortable about speaking and you're not interfering with their... That's a very nice idea. Excellent. Okay, so some good ones there. What about the next question? And if we look at that, encourage... how can we, bring peer role models into the classroom? Any thoughts on that from maybe this side? It's a slightly more tricky question, isn't it? How can we kind of introduce role models and examples of peers? Did anybody? Yes. Get them to trust each other. That's interesting. So they can give tips to each other and help each other how to... Okay, so it's not just the teacher, they're listening to each other and there's an exchange there with support and help. Yeah, that's interesting, that's nice. Any more thoughts? Yes, the gentleman over here. Bring in one of your former students, previous students. Okay. So bring in a student who's maybe older, who's actually using English, and have a video, or physically bring them in if possible. Yeah, that's one of your success stories. Yeah, that's a nice way of putting it. Yeah. Okay, excellent. So lots of interesting ideas there. Let me just put my list up because you've already thought of lots of things that that are going to be on it. So first one, encourage speaking in class. Lots of you gave examples of ways to encourage interaction, getting pairs working together, games, students helping each other. All of these things are going to encourage speaking between students. Sounds simple, but it's very effective at increasing interaction. Mixed abilities in the same class or group or pair. So some people talked about more successful students, and in a class, I mean, let's be honest, you always get a mixture of abilities, don't you? Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, but students have different levels. So if you can get students working together, you have a pair who have different abilities, then the lower level student benefits because obviously the higher level student can help and provides a model, but also the higher level student benefits too, because as we saw, research shows that when students are talking to other non-native speakers, to their peers, they speak more and they speak better. They're more comfortable about speaking. So this is a good opportunity for the higher level student to practice speaking because they're likely to feel comfortable speaking to one of their peers. So both of them benefit. And you can also extend this idea of mixed abilities to the mixture of personalities because students in a class are all different, aren't they? Some are more talkative, some are more creative, some are more analytical, And so they all have something to offer as peers. They all have strengths relative to other students, so they can benefit from each other. Classes at different levels working together. So really, this is the same idea we've just discussed, where you have a mixture of levels, where you bring a whole class you mix two classes. Okay, it can be a bit awkward to organize. It might be possible occasionally to mix classes. It's an idea. Some teachers may be able to do this. Online videos of people students can relate to. So somebody said about having a successful student speaking. You could also find videos online of Brazilian people speaking English. Could be celebrities or sports stars or other people actually speaking English. So students can relate to them and see that they're speaking successfully and think, well, you know, I can do that as well. And students in other classes videoing themselves. So we talked about video. So you could have students videoing themselves in another class and bring those videos into a different class so students see other students, other peers, and other ideas. And connected with this is the idea of student-generated content. Because so far we've talked about peers as language models, but actually learners can contribute something else. They can decide what they want to talk about. They can bring their own ideas and their own topics into the classroom. And it's likely that other students will be able to relate to those, will be interested in them. So students can also provide the actual content and the topics and the subjects that we discuss in lessons. And related to that, students can bring topic knowledge because they're all experts on something, aren't they? Whether it's a professional area or an interest that they have or an experience that they have. So they can bring that knowledge into the classroom. And of course, when people share knowledge, it's rewarding, isn't it? We all enjoy telling other people about the things we've done and the things we know. It provides a real reason to communicate. So it's genuine communication, not artificial communication. So these are all examples of things that can be shared in the classroom, and there's also something else that learners can share. And that is learning strategies. Somebody mentioned students helping each other. This is important because learners all have their own ways of remembering things, don't they? How they remember words, how they understand grammar points, so they can support each other, they can offer advice on how to help each other learn language. So these strategies can be shared. I know this is something I experienced when I first came to Brazil 2 years ago. We were with colleagues, and I noticed there was a word that I realized was extremely important in Portuguese, of an essential word that I really wanted to remember, which was muqueca. Do you like muqueca? Who likes muqueca? Okay, a lot of you. I love it. So I thought I must remember this word, but when I came back to Brazil for the second time, I forgot how to say it. I was getting it confused with moussaka. Typical British guy, you know. So fortunately, I explained what the dish was to my colleagues, and they said, oh yeah, it's muqueca. So I thought I must find a way to remember this. So I thought, right, I'll break it down into the sounds. So I thought, moo, so moo, the sound that a cow makes. And then moo cake, cake. So in my mind, I constructed an image of a cow eating a slice of cake. My mind works in slightly strange ways. What's the connection, Mark, between a cow eating a slice of cake and a dish that's shrimps in sauce? There isn't one, but it just helps me to remember it. And learners come up with funny ways of doing things like this. So this is kind of thing that learners can share to help each other with learning. Okay, so we've talked about the benefits of peer interaction and using peer role models, and we've looked at some ways that we can bring these ideas into the classroom. But, okay, some of the things we've mentioned, combining whole classes, for example, or physically bringing in peers from other classes, it's a bit tricky to organize. Which is why, when we were developing Evolve, the course that I mentioned earlier, that we decided to recruit some of our own peers. So let me introduce some of them to you. At levels 1 to 4, A1 to B1+, we have a group called our student contributors. And they include some people from Brazil. So in this group here, we have several different groups. This group, we have 2 people from Brazil. There's Carolina, who describes herself as nice, determined, and hardworking. And Anderson, who is resilient, happy, and a dreamer. A bit like me. And they come into the class virtually through videos and speak to our students. So they provide speaking models, but they also do something else, which is very important. They help to contribute content, topics. So they choose subjects that they want to talk about, and they bring those into the classroom. So let me show you an example of a video of one of our student contributors. This is Juliette. I'll let you listen to what she says.
Here's my family tree. So here are my sisters, Camila and Jessica. She's 23 and she's 21. Here are my mom and my dad. She's Jamile and he is Luis. And here are my grandparents. So she's Berta, here is Jose Antonio, and here is Lucila, and here is also Liz. And that's my basic family tree.
Okay, so she's here. She's actually doing an activity that's in the book. So this is a task that students themselves will be doing. And of course, as teachers, when we set up a task, we provide an example, don't we? We demonstrate it using a model. So we can do that ourselves as teachers. But if instead that model is provided by a peer who's successfully performing the task, then that's better. So this is a quick and easy way, a ready-made way to bring peer role models into the classroom. That was an example at a lower level. At higher levels, the situation sometimes changes a bit, doesn't it? Because higher level students often want to really push their English, don't they? They want to see the stakes raised. And that's where more expert speakers of the language come in. So as an example of how we approach this in Evolve, we have a group called our expert speakers at levels 5 and 6, B2 and C1 level. And they're all highly proficient, non-native speakers of English. They're all people who are working, living in the United States. So as a language target, they represent a nice, challenging model. So to show you an example from Carolina, who's from Brazil. We have 2 Carolinas from Brazil. And she's talking about this question. What life lessons have you learned recently?
Recently, I watched a documentary about minimalism, which is a theory that says you should have only what you really need in life. We live in a society that encourages you to buy, and consume all the time. So for me, watching that at this moment was very important to really evaluate what I need and to value more who we are and not what we have.
Okay, so it's an example of very successful communication in English by a non-native speaker. So it provides a nice language model, but it also does something else. It contributes a topic. So she's talking about something interesting, and then learners can react to that. So that provides a kind of springboard for discussion. So it's bringing in a topic that she has decided to talk about, and learners can then talk about that too. So it's helping to generate the subjects that we discuss. Okay, she talked about minimalism, and we have a minimal amount of time left before the end of the session. So before I sum everything up, let me just show you a couple of slides with some extra information on about this topic if you're interested in finding out more. These are the research papers and basically all of the research that I've touched on during the session, if you're interested in reading more about this. And Cambridge also has a series of white papers in ELT on the Cambridge website. Is that okay for everyone? These are the, move it on. Yeah, so these are the Cambridge papers in ELT, and you can get to them through the link there. And there's this paper here, which is especially relevant to what we've been talking about this morning, motivational aspects of using near peers as role models. Everyone okay with that? Okay, so in our final minute, how to kind of encapsulate everything that we've talked about this morning. I'd like to try and do it using not my words, but the words of one of your peers, a teacher from Brazil. Not so long ago, I did a talk in Salvador about some of the ideas that we've talked about today. And afterwards, a teacher came up to me and he said that he really liked this idea of using peers as role models because he said it sends an important message to teachers that they can be themselves. And I think with that, he really captured this whole idea. Because, you know, at the end of the day, English is an international language. It has no single perfect model. Yeah, there are native speakers, non-native speakers, different accents, like mine, different levels of ability. That's what English is all about. It's diverse. It belongs to everybody. And I think peer models can really help us to get that message across to our learners, that English is theirs, and that it doesn't matter who they are, it doesn't matter where they are on their journey through language learning. Through English, they can express themselves, but at the same time, they can be themselves. It's been a real pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much. Can I take a selfie with my Sao Paulo peers? Yeah? Thank you.
Pedir ajuda? Vamos então.
If you could give me a wave.
Que-
All good?
Céu.
Nós também?
Thank you very much.
Uma salva de palmas para Mark!
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ele falou thank you pra mim.
Thank you, mano.
É.
Você tá muito bom nisso.
É o seguinte, vamos fazer aquela... Olha, encarnaram. Gente, vamos fazer aquele... Tá batendo só pra... Isso, são vocês, porque quando a gente começou não tinha ninguém aí. Então a gente quer dar um bom dia para vocês, que a passagem de lá para cá tenha sido tranquilo e que vocês permaneçam vivos até o final do dia. É nossa... Dá uma salva de palmas para vocês. Sensacional. É o seguinte, antes da gente improvisar, eu queria perguntar para vocês... Quem está acompanhando uma série de vídeos que a Cambridge está fazendo, Celebration Stories? Levanta a mão, quem está acompanhando? Olha.
Ela fez uma cara assim,
não levanta a mão, levanta a mão.
Não foi?
Quem não tem a menor ideia do que eu estou falando, levanta a mão. Caraca! Então, olha, está na hora de vocês saberem o que eu estou falando. É o seguinte, Celebration Stories são vídeos que a Cambridge está fazendo já há 2 anos, percorrendo as 5 regiões do Brasil e mostrando os aspectos da realidade e os desafios que os professores de inglês têm nessas regiões. Então, assim, são vídeos que estão rolando para que todo mundo veja. Quem que sabe que estou falando, levanta a mão, são 4 pessoas? São 5 pessoas. Pessoal, vamos divulgar esses vídeos, né, gente? Primeira coisa. E quem está vendo os vídeos tem a ver com o que eu estou falando? É isso? Tá. E eu não vou dar o spoiler, pero é um espanhol, né?
Você está poliglota, César.
Mas eu vou falar um pouco sobre esses vídeos. Mostra a foto da Camila, Leonardo. Camila, mostra a foto. Ah, tá lá. Ô, Camila. Eu imaginei que estava aqui. Eu falei, gente do céu. A Camila tá lá. A Camila é uma professora que está começando sua carreira como professora de Florianópolis do Sul. E ela, nos seus primeiros dias de aula, ela falava assim, gente, por que eu estou insegura, né? Eu estudei muito para estar aqui, mas o que está me gerando essa insegurança de ficar nervosa, extremamente nervosa no meu primeiro dia de aula? E aí, quando ela foi dar a primeira aula dela, ela viu que tudo que ela tinha planejado, ela tinha que mudar. Né? É exatamente isso. E ela foi perceber também que dar aula é uma constante mudança, né? Não tem o que... Tem que se preparar agora. A adversidade, o acaso, a partir da primeira pergunta já muda tudo que você planejou. E essa insegurança, essa vulnerabilidade, essa fragilidade, que é natural que a gente vê isso como defeito, mas na verdade pode ser uma grande virtude, quando você compartilha isso. E ela percebeu que com professores e alunos, ela compartilhar essa insegurança ia fortalecer. Então ela fazia grupos com professores e alunos, dividindo essa insegurança, e eles começaram a perceber, os professores mais antigos já percebem isso, mas perceber que, na verdade, dar aula é um eterno aprendizado. Na verdade, você ensinar, na verdade, trocaria a palavra ensinar por aprendendo a aprender, né? Isso tem a ver com o que o Mark falou, né? Então, acho que a palavra aprendendo a aprender, esse valor, tem muito a ver com a história da Camila, com o que o Mark falou. Então, veja os vídeos, são muito legais, tá? E espero que o ano que vem me convidem a fazer, e eu faço essa pergunta, e todo mundo levanta e fala, eu já vi. Seria muito legal. Uma outra pergunta, quem já há 2 anos atrás estava aqui e conhece a gente? Levanta a mão. Olha só, você viu? Barba branca, não tinha. E há 6 anos atrás, quem conhece? Gente,
olha, teve aquela fez.
Gente, ele é praticamente o fundador da Cambridge, né, gente? Há 6 anos atrás. Mr. Cambridge. E aí, qual que foi o nosso desafio? Pegando esse valor, aprendendo a aprender, e tem tudo a ver com improvisação, porque a gente diz que a gente só pode encarar os desafios como um presente se a gente treina, né? É isso que a Camila falava, eu estudei, então a gente tem repertório. Eu digo que se eu deixo de treinar improvisação, eu deixo de ser improvisador e me torno um louco, né? Eu só posso falar, me dê uma história difícil sobre o seu quintal, que isso para a gente vai ser um presente se a gente está preparado para encarar esses desafios como oportunidades. Então a gente vai pegar esse valor aprendendo a aprender e vamos fazer um jogo de improvisação. Pode ser? Alguém já viu algum espetáculo de improvisação? Levanta a mão. Ao vivo.
Diminui muito.
Pela internet, pela televisão. Isso. Olha, por isso que o teatro vai bem. Obrigado, gente. Inclusive tem um programa, toda segunda, depois de 8 anos que eu fiz, chamado É Tudo Improviso, toda segunda na Band. Pode assistir, que são programas inéditos que ainda não tinham passado. Ok? Então, para a gente improvisar, não sou apenas eu, o Álvaro Lages, a gente vai chamar um outro integrante da Companhia do Quintal, e eu gostaria de fazer uma coisa. Eu vou chamar, e todo artista ele é carente por natureza. Então, vocês podem gritar, lindo, lindo, pode mentir, tá, gente? Pode mentir, lindo, lindo. E aí, qual que é a sua graça? Júlia. Você pode segurar, Júlia? É o seguinte, todo mundo vai gritar, sure. Ela falou, claro.
Sure.
É o seguinte, ela, todo mundo grita, grita, grita. Quando ele chegar no palco, quando todo mundo acalmar, você pode falar assim, olá em casa? Pode, tá? Ou pode ser em inglês, hi my house. Tá?
Como é que é em inglês?
Sei lá, hi my house.
Hi my house.
Pode ser? Pode mentir, tá bom?
Hi my
Então é o
house.
seguinte, e o pessoal que tiver com a perna cruzada, descruza e deixa o chakra número 1 livre, tá, gente? Porque aí, quando vocês, Leandro Costa, o pessoal pula, grita, loucura, tá? Faz loucura, tá bom? Com vocês, para improvisar, junto comigo, Álvaro Lages, Leandro Costa!
Olá, olá.
Olá em casa!
Que espontâneo.
Ela falou porque quis.
Ela falou porque quis, ela falou assim...
Ela pediu o microfone.
Ela falou assim, ô da barbinha branca, dá o microfone pra mim.
Barbinha branca?
E aí falou, olha...
Obrigado, tudo bem? Muito prazer.
Leandro,
bom dia.
Eu tive
Como
o
estão?
prazer já de dar bom dia, tudo. Agora,
Nossa, quanta
eu
gente.
gostaria que você fosse breve.
Posso falar? Eu posso.
E se puder, o pessoal fala mais inglês do que português. Pode se apresentar em inglês, tá bom?
Me apresentar? Não, eu posso. Eu estudei, eu estudo.
Você estuda? Então pode, se apresenta em
Vou
inglês.
me apresentar em inglês.
Tá.
Hi. Good morning. I'm Leandro Costa. I'm 30. What's the?
sotaque.
Okay. It's the British English. I'm 36-year-old in a 40 body, and I born and raised in a very beautiful place in São Paulo. It's called Osasco. You're from Osasco too? No, it's a very beautiful place to live or die. Okay, Osasco. Yeah, metallurgicals, Viloso. Yeah. And when I was a child, I really liked to play cats and hide. And also with my friends, I play with roller kart, carrinho de rolemã, too. And I'm very happy to be here with you in this morning. Thank you so much.
Tô até...
Eu falei da minha infância, César.
Que história linda, né?
Obrigado.
Eu tô emocionado.
Obrigado.
Se eu tivesse entendido, eu estaria chorando.
Nossa.
Mas olha, é incrível. É o seguinte, vamos improvisar. E é o seguinte, por favor... Vontade de pular. Me lembrou a infância. Não deu quando faz assim que pula, assim? Mas, você pode levantar a mão, por favor? Um voluntário espontâneo, gente. Pode vir aqui, rapidinho. Qual é o seu nome? Uma salva de palmas para Leandro. Sensacional, Leandro. Leandro, olha a coincidência. E, por favor, qual que é a sua graça?
Pode ficar aqui, ó.
Priscila, pode vir aqui. Uma salva de palmas para Priscila, rapidinho. Por favor. Mais um microfone. Beto, mais um microfone. Priscila, né? Olha. Priscila aqui, ó. Sensacional. Você pode ir para lá, Priscila. Conhece o Leandro? Você é professor? E você? Olha que mundo pequeno, gente do céu. Caraca, gente do céu.
Professor.
Olha, depois vocês se conhecem e vamos ver. Quem vai ganhar o prêmio de dar aula para mim de graça, hein? Vamos ver. É o seguinte, a gente vai improvisar e toda vez que eu fizer assim, você vai falar uma letra do alfabeto brasileiro. Você sabe? Sim. Tá. Não, então, por exemplo, eu faço assim, ó. Ótimo. Outra?
V.
Olha, já mudou para V, né,
Olha
gente?
só.
Olha, sabe mesmo, é intercalado e tal. E aí, ó, você falar, a primeira palavra que eu vou falar tem que começar com a inicial A, tá bom? Okay. E já que você vai falar com a boca, já deixa aqui, porque evita de coisa. Já deixa aqui, tá bom? Maravilha, Leonardo.
Ok.
E eu a mesma coisa, Priscila. Toda vez que eu fizer esse gesto para você leva o microfone à boca e fala uma letra qualquer do alfabeto.
Perfeito?
Perfeito.
Muito simples. Em que lugar vocês gostariam que passasse essa improvisação? Pode ser sala de aula, mas pode ser qualquer coisa fora da realidade de vocês.
Vamos pra
Alguma...
fora. Osasco, me tira de
Num
lá.
parque de
Parque,
Osasco.
vamos num parque.
Ele lutou tanto para sair de lá, agora você volta para lá. O que que...
Aprumou na vida.
Nárnia.
Dárnia.
Não, Nárnia, eles falaram
Dárnia.
Nárnia. Nárnia não.
Sarna, Dárnia. Dárnia.
Nárnia.
Outro lugar. Cantina.
Cantina da escola.
Fala. Praia. Pode ser na praia?
Pode ser.
Porque junta
Tinha
desejo
parque aqui,
também, né?
tá bom.
Praia, pode ser praia?
Praia, pode ser.
Maravilha. Então você faz. Boa sorte.
Vamos fazer uma contagem regressiva?
Boa sorte.
In English.
Boa sorte.
3, 2, 1,
Pera,
go!
eu vou tirar o casaco aqui.
Vocês podem jogar a mão que chega mais positive vibrations. Olha o coco! Olha o coco!
Oh.
Coconut!
Oh, e aí? Tudo bem? Bom dia.
Tudo jóia. Eu queria um coco.
Um coco,
Não tem
claro.
melhor coisa para hidratar. Você sabe que coco me traz muita jovialidade. Eu bebo coco, eu fico mais jovem. Olha, muito
que
obrigado.
beleza.
Quanto é que é?
Ah, meu, é a minha primeira venda do dia, então vai ser... De graça.
Ah, gente do céu.
Vai ser de graça.
Faltam pessoas como você nesse mundo,
que isso.
viu?
Aqui em Jurerê Internacional, a gente recebe muita gente de vários lugares do mundo, mas você é daqui. Você tem cara que é daqui.
Tá uma delícia esse coco. Eu não, eu sou turista. É a primeira vez
Deixa
que
eu
eu venho aqui.
adivinhar.
B.
Barueri. Brasília. Belo Horizonte. Beraba. Belo Horizonte. Você
Belo
tem cara de
Horizonte.
mineirinho.
Belo
Tem cara
Horizonte.
de que
A.
ama estar na praia, né? Porque lá não tem, né?
Exatamente.
Em Minas
Olha,
não tem praia.
Esse coco tá uma delícia.
Nossa, eu vou até abrir um
Você
com
sabe
você.
que toda vez... vamos brindar então?
Vamos.
Vamos brindar...
F.
Fala sério. Vamos brindar a amizade.
A amizade que está se construindo agora, porque é em lugares como esse, de frente para o mar, que a gente percebe que gente tem que se relacionar.
Olha.
Tem que conversar.
Em Belo Horizonte é muito difícil ver o horizonte. E quando eu vejo o horizonte, a primeira coisa que bate no meu coração...
R.
Rapaz... É que a emoção às vezes não vem a palavra certa, sabe?
Eu sei do que
quando
você
eu
está
vejo o
falando.
horizonte, vejo aquela onda, quando vem aquela onda batendo na sua canela, vem aquela emoção de... Demais, é demais.
Mas olha, o que você tem que provar mesmo aqui, além do coco, é entrar nesse marzão e partir pro fundo. Partir pro fundo.
Olha.
E se sentir ali dentro, e se sentir abraçado.
Olha, tava faltando coragem.
Pela essa água com sal. Tem sal?
Gente, olha.
É salgada.
Eu vou entrar no mar e... Quantos peixes lindos, gente. Olha só, gente. Olha quanto... Ai, água viva. Ai, água viva, gente. Água viva. Gente, olha do céu. O meu sonho era nadar no meio desse cardume feito... Olha...
Ei,
quantas sereias, gente. Gente, olha, quando eu vejo o mar, eu sinto no mar, eu gosto de gritar para o universo.
S.
Socorro! Socorro, eu amo essa praia.
Salva de palmas para a Priscila e pro Leandro.
Uma salva de palmas. Gente, devolve o casaco. Por favor. Você quer... Imagina. Brinde a você que vai me dar dando aula, querido. Tudo bem, fica aí. Você quer o microfone? Não, maravilha. Sensacional, Leonardo. Uma salva de palmas, gente. Leandro.
Esse nome você decora, né?
Esse eu sei. Leonardo é o nome do meu filho, né?
Olha...
Não vem ao caso.
Eu vou chamar o próximo palestrante, mas a gente fez uma entrada maravilhosa para ele. vocês fazem assim, ó.
Que hora que é pra fazer? Eu também faço?
Também faz.
Tá, eu vou fazer.
Como é que é? Ó, assim.
Tem?
Isso.
Tem
De novo. São 2, ó.
Ótimo. E aí, no momento que eu fizer isso, vocês falam um pouquinho mais alto, mais assim, falam, nossa, tô pirando nos caras, tá bom? Por favor. Com vocês. Ele, Michael!
É isso?
Sensacional!
Michael Tomlinson.
Eu quero falar. Pode. Seja bem-vindo, o palco é todo seu.
Welcome, Michael. The stage is yours.
You are so kind. Thank you very much. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
O público é todo seu.
The audience is with you.
They're mine as well.
The people
You've
is
done a great
yours
job.
too. The microphone
Is
yours.
Isso.
Álvaro, it's yours too if you
No!
want. No,
Leandro,
take it.
Leandro.
Later, okay?
Yeah.
Not
Meu
now.
coração.
My
We
heart.
negotiated.
My heart?
Mike Hart.
Your or my? My.
The Michael.
His heart,
And
my
yours?
heart
Not
is
yours
yours.
as well?
Your, my too. Thank you.
Thanks.
Até já.
They're spectacular, aren't they? Wow. Good morning. How are you? I should think you are after that. Good. Right. That is me, believe it or not. The photograph wasn't taken yesterday, as you can imagine. I'm going to talk for the next 50 minutes or so, maybe a little bit less so that you can get out to the coffee break, because I know how important the coffee breaks are at these events. And I'm going to talk about on a mission, collaborate, learn and develop confidence, project-based ideas for the primary classroom to take learners to the next level. It's a nice short title, which is why we put it onto 3 different slides. The talk is simply structured. There'll be a little bit of theory and research, and that will be illustrated by a number of examples. Examples taken from the area of primary education. This talk is unapologetically based in primary, okay? Although the theory is universal, it's suitable for young learners, secondary, adults, everything. The examples will be primary, and as a primary talk, I will be asking for a little bit of collaboration. Is that okay? Some participation. Yes? The volume is going down. When I ask you for the next one, I know what the answer is going to be. Yeah. I'd like to begin with a warm-up activity, an activity which I'm sure you all do in class, an activity which has lots of language benefits. It's a great way to practice language, help children remember language, practice pronunciation, rhythm, intonation, but it also gives plenty of benefits aside from that. And it is a song. Yeah, there, see there? that's where the enthusiasm lies. A song, right? And I'm going to ask you to sing the song. You okay with that? Good. If anyone's seen me present before, they know just how good a singer I am. Not. But I firmly believe that the quality of the singing is not the most important thing. What matters as a teacher, if you're doing a song class, is the enthusiasm you transmit. Because not all children are good singers. So it's quite useful if the teacher isn't a perfect singer, so that the bad singers in class can look up to you and say, look at Tomlinson, he's rubbish. It doesn't matter if I'm rubbish as well. So the song we're going to do is about the daily routine. Normally, when I do a song with kids, it's something that happens in various stages, breaking it up so it's easier for them to learn and to practice. With teachers, I usually break it up into two. The first time you don't sing, second time you do, okay? Nice and simple. And we're going to do that today. The difference today is that the first time, we're going to do it now. The second time, when you sing, we'll do it at the end of the talk, okay? And to help you internalize the language, memorize it, process it, remember it, I'm going to ask you to do a series of actions. Is that okay? Good. As it's the daily routine, they're nice and easy. You can see them here. Could you stand up, please, so that we can practice the actions? Start with action D. What is that? Take a shower. Good. Can I see you taking a shower, please? Excellent. Carry on. Very good. Hashtag better learning. What is B? Take a towel, get dry. Can you do that for me? You've clearly done this before. Good. Okay, next, we'll look at C. What is C? Wake up. Can you do that, please? One thing which I've noticed doing this with teachers all around the world is that they are incapable of doing it without the sound effects. You say, wake up. Everyone does that, but you need to say, which is great. However, because I would like you to sing the song later, it is more difficult to sing if you're going, So we'll stick to the actions, okay? If C is wake up, then what is G? Get up. Yeah, actions for that. Yeah, but I don't want you sitting down because then that gets confusing with sit up, stand up. It's tricky, isn't it? So we'll simplify it. If that's wake up, then get up, we'll just go for one leg, okay? Can I see you do that? Very good. Next, we have A. Yep, let's see the action. Lovely. The song's quite quick, so you don't need to do the whole process. Just a couple of buttons is probably enough. Next after that would be F. Have breakfast. Okay, let's see that. Yeah, a lot of coffee going down. Nice variety. On the screen, you can see there's Grandad. What's he holding in his hands? What's he got in his hands? Can you see? Milk and orange juice. It is. If you can't see at the back, it's milk and orange juice. Good. And then finally, we have E. Brush your teeth. Yes. What's the young girl holding? Sorry, what's the young boy holding first? And the young girl? Toothpaste. It is. So, those are the actions. This is the text. You see, it's not complicated. It's wake up, get up, go and have a shower. Wake up, get up, time for us to run. Towel, get dry. Go and get dressed. Time for us to run, okay? You can do that, okay? Are you going to sing? No! See, when you do this sort of thing, you realize the problem that children have with teacher instructions. Because you all understood it the first time, but you automatically interpret it in your own little way. Not little way, sorry, in your own wonderful way. First time, no singing. We'll sing at the end of the talk, okay? Are you ready? Do you mind if I take my jacket off? Is that okay? I'm married. However, no. I forgot it's being live streamed, isn't it? Oh dear. Right, let's go.
Pupils Book, Unit 1, page 10. 1. Listen and number. Then sing the song.
I'm Rocky Doodle Doo, and here's our song for today. Wake up!
Jim, are you awake? Oh dear, Jim's asleep and Jenny's asleep too. Wake up, Jim! Wake up, Jenny! Wake up, get up, go and have a shower. Wake up, get up, time for us to run. Get your towel, get dry. Now go and get dressed. Get your towel, get dry. Time for us to run. Sit down for breakfast, milk or juice for you. Sit down for breakfast, time for us to run. Clean your teeth, toothpaste on your toothbrush. Clean your teeth, time for us to run. Wake up, get up, go and have a shower. Wake up, get dressed, have breakfast, clean your teeth and run. Time for us to run, time for us to run, time for us to run. Come on!
Bravo, mate. You're wonderful. Sit down, please. Sit down. Did you enjoy that? So did I. Good. Do you think your students would enjoy that? They do. It helps to motivate them. But more importantly, it helps them to remember the language. So that when they go out of the classroom, when you go out of the classroom, you'll be going out thinking, wake up, get up. So there's a lot of language in the task. What I want to look at now is going to deal with a series of issues which run to one side of language, or run below language. They are some teacher concerns which we've identified. I'm going to put the 3 of them on the screen. I would like you to discuss very briefly with whoever is next to you if you think they resonate. Are they important for teachers in Brazil? And then we'll discuss very briefly, okay? There we are. Read, discuss. Okay, I'm sure you could carry on talking about this for a very long time, but because time is limited, I want to move on. Do you think they're important? Absolutely. So, what I want to do now is to look at some theory and research which could possibly provide answers to these three questions. I've summed it up with three acronyms. Do you know what these acronyms represent? No? Well, that's good, because it means I have something to talk about. Good. I've included them as acronyms because, you know, academics, they do like an acronym, don't they? In fact, today with social media, there are acronyms everywhere. I don't know about you here in Brazil, but I live and work in Spain, and in WhatsApp and Facebook, there's lots of acronyms. Can you think of any acronyms you use regularly? By the way, FYI, LOL, ASAP, exactly. There are hundreds of them, aren't there? Hundreds. One of my favorites is TLDR. Have you come across that before? TLDR. It means too long, didn't read. You know, the people who send those stories and jokes in the WhatsApp group that, like, you have to keep on scrolling down and down and down and down. TLDR, my favorite. Anyway, I get distracted. So we're going to start with the first area, which is how we can equip our students with the skills they will need when they come into the place of work. Because we know that the educational paradigm has changed enormously over the last 20, 30 years, right? When I was at school, teaching, learning was all about transmission of knowledge. The teacher knew everything, I knew nothing, and the teacher transferred knowledge to me. And if I was lucky, it stayed in there. Knowledge is still important, obviously. But today, because they can access all the knowledge they want with 3 taps of a screen, what's more relevant is the skills that surround it, to be able to use that. And that's why topics such as 21st century skills, employability skills, etc., are becoming much more important. The research department, the language research department at Cambridge, has developed a framework which covers these life competencies. I'm going to talk about it very briefly. Later in the morning, Ben Knight, who's head of the research department at Cambridge, will give you a bit more information. But for the purpose of my talk, I just want to highlight what this is. Who's it for? Well, it's for you and me, no, especially you. Us as teachers, syllabus designers, materials writers, because what it does is it divides the educational journey into stages, preschool, primary, secondary, etc., and it tracks the main skills that a student needs and should have through this journey. It divides the competencies into 6, which are the following. You can see there are 2 groups, the social skills and the thinking and learning skills. These are the competencies. They are then broken down into sub-competencies. And each of these then has a series of can-do descriptors. In the same way as the Common European Framework of Reference for Language. It's the same concept, but it's for life skills, okay? So I want to look very briefly at one of these, social responsibilities, which is broken down into these following sub-competencies. This is what we can expect of our young learners in the primary classroom, okay? To be able to understand personal responsibilities as part of the group. To take active roles including leadership, So the first two are quite close, and then we spread out towards describing your own culture and other cultures, and looking at global issues. I want to illustrate this with a simple example. I'm going to show you a story. It's taken from a literature spread, a 2-page spread, aimed at low-level learners. Right at the beginning of the book, you'll see the language is very simple. Obviously, a story is there for children's enjoyment, so that they are motivated to want to read. It's accompanied by audio, because it is low level, so it's very useful for children who have limited reading skills to be able to listen to the story as well. And we'll go through it quite quickly, okay?
The first day. Knock, knock. It's Lucy at the door.
Hello, Lucy. Hello, Max.
It's not too quick for you, is it? No? As I said, it's low level, and you need to be gentle with children when they're just starting to learn. It gets a bit more complicated, but not too much.
Lucy and Max are friends. Today is the first day of school.
It's time to pack your bag. My bag. It's in the cupboard.
A little bit longer.
Where's my pencil? It's under the chair. Oh, yes. Take a pencil to school. That's the rule. Where's my pen? It's on the table. Oh, yes. Take a pen to school. That's the rule. And where's my ruler? It's next to your pen. Oh, yes. Take a ruler to school. That's the rule. Where are my books? They're on the bookcase. Oh, yes. Take your books to school. That's the rule. And my crayons? What are these? The crayons are on the floor, under the window.
Hurry up! It's time to go. Don't be late for school. That's the #1 rule.
Okay, so you can see that as language teachers, it's quite easy to identify what we're trying to practice and to teach them here. But at the same time, it's a story, so we're encouraging extensive reading, etc. And underneath this, you can see there are some of these life competencies which are practiced, some of these social skills, social responsibilities. Which ones do you think we're practicing? Responsibility, personal organization, yep. Punctuality as well. And we're also introducing the concept of school rules. But it's a bit more child-friendly. It's not the teacher saying, this is what you must do. It's a light-hearted approach at bringing these things into the classroom so that the children are made aware of them, and hopefully, without thinking about it too much, they will absorb. If you want to spend more time and practice and extend from this, obviously you can. But they should be able to absorb it without too much over-teaching. Okay? Can anyone remember what the next acronym was? PBL, yes. This is probably the one that some of you do know about, right? PBL. Oh, before that, this is another quick look at where we spread out from the child's environment to bigger global issues. I won't spend any time on that. I think it's talking about the environment is common sense, right? So, PBL, project-based learning. You're aware what PBL is? Project-based learning, yes? Plenty of you are. For those who aren't, in its simplest terms, it's about getting your students to do tasks, to start with an idea and a plan, a project, work through that, through stages, until they have a final product to show for it. And the idea is that they're communicating and collaborating and using language at the same time. One of the problems that teachers have had sometimes with project-based learning is that it doesn't always extend the language that you want your students to use. They reach a threshold and they leave it there. So what we want to do is to make sure there's a project, but in steps and phases. Because if it's done successfully, it offers the following benefits. You notice here that there are 3 of those competencies we spoke about earlier. So it's working on those. It helps children remember the interesting things that they're working on in the project, but also remember the language they use, because when you're working on something and you're in the flow, you acquire the language without having to overstudy it. The collaboration offers an opportunity for lifelong learning, preparing them for the life outside the classroom, which you remember was the original concern, by working cooperatively and learning to resolve problems. This is what we're helping them to bring the classroom closer to the outside world. And of course, it increases motivation. Yeah? So what we've tried to do is, with every educational unit, include a project which is relevant to the language that they're practicing. And we'd start off with a plan, the objectives, so that students know what they're going to do. Here they have to plan a wildlife tour. You can see it's in 4 steps. I'll talk about the advantages of showing them the objectives later. But as well as showing them the objectives, we also give them the opportunity to evaluate if they have fulfilled those objectives. If they've done the task successfully, they can tick it off. It's a 4-stage project, as I mentioned. The first stage is very simple. It's a game, the bus game. And this isn't rocket science. It's a flashcard game. I'm sure you've done something similar before, where we practice the new language they've just seen, and we incorporate some of the old flashcards so that we're constantly reviewing as well. It's called the bus game because I organize my students in columns, in rows, like on a bus, okay? And I start by showing them a flashcard. A flashcard. What is it? What do you say? Thank you both. Look, there's a motorbike. Yes. Put it down. Student 2 has to remember flashcard 1, and I hold up flashcard 2. And student 2 says, there's a motorbike and a lorry. See, it's not that complicated, is it? Then I put down flashcard 3, and I come to student 3. Hold up flashcard, sorry, put down flashcard 2. Hold up flashcard 3, and student 3 says, it's a memory game, yeah? It's called the bus game because they sit as though it were a bus, because we're practicing transport as well, so it's relevant. And if one of the students can't remember what the word is, or can't remember what the other children have said, then what we do is they have the opportunity to come and sit at the front of the bus. And we start again. So they then just say one word. It's easier for them. But it's a nice child-friendly way. Coming to the front of the bus isn't a punishment. It's an opportunity to do it again, okay? So it's a nice, simple, child-friendly flashcard game. And then there's a an opportunity to put a sticker on once they've done it. The second stage, which is a few lessons down, they've learnt new language, they've learnt the animals, so we're going to get them, groups of 4, to draw the animals. Groups of 4, each child draws a picture of one of the animals that they've studied, and then they will choose 3. So they have to communicate and collaborate, discuss with simple language. Let's look at the elephants, okay? With the drawing, remember that you set them a strict time limit, because we know what children are like when they're drawing, that Joao will have finished his picture in 15 seconds. Oh, look, giraffe, beautiful. And Joanna will be there 2 hours later saying, oh, I can't do the eyes for this giraffe. They're just... Make sure you set them a time limit and make them aware that it's not an art class, it's an English class. It's there to represent the animal. It's okay if it looks beautiful, that's great. But don't worry too much if it doesn't. So once you have decided on 3, if you want, you can then join one group with another, and they discuss again, collaborate, communicate to choose 3 more pictures. The third phase is to make their wildlife park. They've now studied habitat, so we're bringing in new language. They've studied a little bit about the habits of the animals, so they can talk a little bit more about the animals. And they, in their groups, place the animals in the habitat, draw the habitat. And the final stage is when we bring it all together. And in their groups, they have to design the tour. So on the map, they draw arrows. They draw the route they are going to follow. Then they plan what they're going to say, because young, inexperienced learners need to plan if they're going to say something to other people. And then they act it out. They act it out first in their groups, and later with other groups, and possibly with the whole class if they want to and they have time, okay? Next area, LOA, our third acronym, to help every student reach their potential. Before we look at it, a quick survey. 3 questions. Speak to each other, answer the questions, and we'll talk about the answers together, okay? Okay, I'll interrupt you again. We don't have that much time. Who is assessment for? Teachers and students and parents. Oh, yeah. 15 years ago, it wasn't an issue, but over the last 15, 10, 5 years, parents are becoming more and more involved and more preoccupied about how well their children are learning English. They want to see results, right? Anybody else? We have teachers, parents, and schools, administrators. Exactly. So there are a lot of people to keep happy, right? When we're thinking about assessment. Worth bearing in mind. What should assessment measure? Progress? Knowledge? Language, learning. There are lots of things assessment should measure. The one essential thing is that we make sure we test them on things they know, on things they can do, so that we are letting them see how much they've learnt. Don't fall into the trap of thinking if all your students get 10s in their test, it's a bad test. No, that's because you've got good students. Because especially with young learners, it's extremely valuable for them to see how good they are. It's one of the most motivating things. In life, success breeds success. Worth remembering. And who should perform the assessment? Learners and teachers. Yeah. The teachers give some of the assessment, and there's also the option of self-assessment or even peer assessment. Okay? Bearing that in mind, the goals of assessment, I feel, should be to provide evidence of learning so that I can see students are progressing, the teacher, the student can see they are progressing, and the school or the parents. But more important, or just as important, is that we provide evidence for learning so that it gives us and the students feedback to see what they know and what they're having problems with, so that we can adjust what we're going to teach. This is something that I think lots of teachers, possibly most teachers, do intuitively. You plan a lesson, you have your goals, you start teaching, and if you see that the students can do it, then you go through more quickly. If you see that the students have problems, then you go more slowly, you look at a different way of explaining it, you revisit it in another class. So intuitively, it's something we do. What we're looking at here is a more structured way of doing it, and hopefully a way which will help all teachers and all students. Some techniques. First of all, we mentioned this with the project, identify outcomes. Think, what is the objective for this class? I guess you do that already, right? Yes. Do you tell your students? Not always. But if you think about it, there's a lot of value in letting your students know what you want them to learn in a class. That way, they can see when they've done it, thereby measuring their progress. They can see when they haven't done it, if I need to do something else to help me learn these things. So by highlighting achievement, we're making the students more aware, we're helping them. It's important to monitor effectively. And when I say this, I mean monitor everybody in the class. It's very easy to monitor the best student and the worst student, or the best three and the worst three. Very often the students in the middle, we're not sure exactly what they're good at, what they're best at, where they have problems. So we want some kind of method whereby we can check on all of our students. Bless you. And to do so, we need to record what they're doing well or where they may have problems. One way of doing this is with something like this. Teachers look at this and go, oh, that's a lot of work. I've got enough work as it is. True. If you go through and put all of the objectives and every student and a sentence for everyone, it takes time. It's extremely valuable because it means that you have a record for reference to talk to the students, to talk to the parents, to talk to the school administrators if necessary. But it does take time. You know, I'm so old. I remember when you came to these events and people used to take notes with a pen and paper. Now it's all photographs, isn't it? So an alternative is to keep checklists. This is a little bit shorter, okay? Do something like this, whereby you put your objectives, name of students, tick, cross, question mark, and notes. And that way we ensure that we are checking on all of the students, not just the best and the worst. Okay? Another alternative, additional, is self-assessment. Important. Yeah? Here are some quick tips for self-assessment. This is something you can do at any stage of the lesson. If you're teaching vocabulary, for example, once you've presented the vocabulary, check if they know things. You understand? Thumbs up. Thumbs down. Don't understand. Maybe. Similar to that is the idea of giving every student a green card or a red card to put on their table. If they understand, hold up the green card. Don't understand, the red card. Or they want further explanations, the red card. What this gives us as a teacher is an immediate picture of what the class knows as a snapshot, so that we can adjust how we're going to teach. Because often we waste time. I've seen teachers wasting time explaining things when students already know it. And then some of the more important things where students are having problems, they don't spend enough time. It helps us to regulate in a structured way. Kwl chart, do you know what that is? You put a chart with 3 columns, and it's language they know, would like to know, or want to know, and have learnt. And you encourage children to fill in the columns so that they are aware of what they're learning and what they've learnt, and you also can see, oh, maybe next week I need to spend more time on this area of vocabulary. Okay? That's similar also to the sticky note chart. Sticky note, 2 columns. 1 column, hooray, let's go. Column 2, I don't know yet. If you need to explain this to low-level learners in L1, you can do that too. And then you give them the yellow sticky notes, and they write the words they've learnt or they've studied in this lesson, and put them into the column, I know it, I don't know it. So that, again, they're all thinking, they can help each other, and you are much better informed about what everybody knows or doesn't. Okay? This refers to the projects we saw earlier and the cycle of outcomes, assessment, reassess, modify objectives, and the importance of setting goals, in the words of Zoltan Dernier. So, to push our children towards the next level, a few things that we need to include to help motivate them. Obviously, teacher enthusiasm, always important. Commitment and expectations. Children react very well if they realize how interested you are in each one of them and that you are going to push them. You're not going to let them sit there and go, not today, teacher. Push them. Make sure they are aware of the success, because language learning is a long, slow process. What age do children start learning English here in Brazil? 3, 4? 4? And when do they finish? Never. Long, slow process. That's why, in terms of motivation, it's extremely important that they see on a regular basis what we've learned today, what we've learned this week, what we've learned this term, so that they can measure it. I think that's quite straightforward, as is the classroom atmosphere. Getting towards the end, ICYMI. Do you know what that means? Another acronym. In case you missed it. We've looked at 3 areas of research, which were, what's the first one? Cambridge Life Competencies Framework. Second one? And the third? Yeah. Also very similar to formative assessment, yes. To take our learners to the next level, they need to be using the language, they need to collaborate, but at the same time learn to be autonomous, and to be constantly aware of how much they're learning, the motivation and challenges, okay? So we're almost at the end. I think we have about 2 minutes. Any suggestions? Sing the song. Oh, yes. Masked Man song. Not today, I'm afraid. I'll do a private show later. So, let's go. Stand up. Are you going to sing with enthusiasm? I'm sure you don't need me to remind you that this is being streamed live. All of Brazil can hear just how wonderfully you sing, so make sure we have plenty of volume. And the actions, of course. Okay? Let's go.
Book, Unit 1, page 10. 1. Listen and number.
I'm Rocky Doodle Doo, and here's our song for today. Wake up!
Jim, are you awake? Oh dear, Jim's asleep and Jenny's asleep too. Wake up, Jim! Wake up, Jenny! Wake up, get up, go and have a shower. Wake up, get up, time for us to run. Get your towel, get dry. Now go and get dressed. Get your towel, get dry. Time for us to run. Sit down for breakfast, milk or juice for you. Sit down for breakfast, time for us to run. Clean your teeth, toothpaste on your toothbrush. Clean your teeth, time for us to run. Wake up, get up, go and have a shower. Wake up, get dressed, have breakfast, clean your teeth and run. Time for us to run, time for us to run, time for us to run. Come on!
Wonderful, magnificent. Thank you very much. I believe it is now time for, well, do I have to pass the microphone over to these gentlemen again, or is it coffee break now?
Obrigado. We're finished. No, we finished. Finish.
Okay.
Uma salva de palmas pro Michael. Valeu, thank you.
Michael.
Gracias por la traducción. Sim?
Graças.
Eu estou no evento em inglês e vou sair daqui falando espanhol. Não sei porquê.
Tem ascendente em Assunção.
É o seguinte, música de leitura de pensamento. Ele nunca mais vai ficar na primeira fileira quando for ao teatro. Eu estou causando trauma, né? Acredito que não é só você que está pensando isso. Eu vou pro estômago. É impressão minha ou você está sentindo que todos estão sentindo que é fome? Você viu? Eu leio o pensamento de vocês. E eu tenho uma boa notícia. Chegou agora a hora da comida. Pera. Você que está em casa. A gente volta a 12:30. Quem mora na Bela Vista e quiser convidar esses artistas para almoçar na sua casa, mande agora o endereço.
Que hora que a gente vai, hein?
Entendeu? Vai. Fala, eu quero os artistas, eu quero o roxinho na minha casa.
O roxinho. Eu quero o roxinho.
Faça o endereço, eu estarei aí. Tá bom? É o seguinte, me inspirou. O Michael, adorei do... E se a gente fizer uma música com algumas recomendações pro almoço?
Ah, na música inteira?
Isso.
Tá bom.
Vamos lá.
Não estava pensando nisso.
Pode levantar? Quer levantar?
Pode levantar.
Pode levantar para daí ir embora. Só seguir a coreografia, assim, ó. A gente vai comer, né? Recomendações. Vamos lá.
Wake up and go to have a lunch. Wake up and go to have a lunch. Don't stop at the fila. Don't stop at the fila.
Reposition.
We'll have reposition.
Informação muito importante. Você olhou, a comida vai acabar. Dica, vão repor.
Outra informação, já que paramos. Fila de self-service não é lugar para a gente ter ideias.
Isso.
É objetividade. Chegou na frente, já escaneia tudo e já sabe. Esse eu gosto, por exemplo, não gosto de ervilha. Não vou parar na ervilha, passa direto.
Outra informação, não é hora de mudar o seu cardápio. Ah, nunca comi berinjela, vou comer. Hoje não é hora de mudar. Gostou de comida? Vai pra carne, vai pro arroz, ok? Bom apetite, pode ir indo. Até às 20h30.
Wake up. We're going to have a lunch. Wake up.
12h30, voltamos. Música!